The journey is never ending. There always gonna be growth, improvement, and adversity. You just got to take it all in and do what's right. Continue to grow, continue to live in the moments. So, for starting a new chapter of learning, I, Shranshi Rai, being your host for today's event, want to extend a warm greeting and good afternoon to all of you present here. I hope you all are doing amazing. On behalf of the whole SEMS family, I welcome you for all today's international webinar on the topic business communication. And to add a guest of honor and today's speaker, Mr. Naresh Lakhani, it's very great honor to have you with us. We are grateful for your presence.
Thank you.
Also, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Please.
Also, I see quite a number of people are joining us. Before I proceed, let me take a brief moment for the introduction of our organization. SEMS Welfare Foundation is a non-profit entity established to work in the areas of education, social welfare, women empowerment, skill development, and entrepreneurship, livelihood generation and employability, health, research, culture, international cooperation, sports, environmental protection, or any other similar sectors. We promote healthy lives, a balanced and active community, and a strong business. So, now let me introduce to our today's speaker to all of you, Mr. Naresh Lakhani, CA, CPA, CMA, yoga enthusiast. He runs his own CA consultancy firm. He's also a public speaker on life skills topic including guest faculty for the ICAI courses. He had been CFO of Converges India and on the board of few legal entities prior to this. He has worked 6 years in the USA with a passion to contribute and support the society.
Thank you, Shreyanshi. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to wonderful audience. Also, thank you to Sakshi who reached out to me and who coordinated everything. And also, foremost, thank you to the participants, because they are the one who are spending their time on me. They have trusted me. They have come here. So the utmost thank you to the participant, also the management of SEMS for inviting me. I would quickly jump into the topic. Today, we are going to talk about how we can improve communication. And in my every workshop, I touch a little bit on health also because, I believe that, everything starts with health. So I will take 1 or 2 minutes, not much, that please guys make sure, whatever you do, especially when you're a student, you are stressed out. There may be many times many situations where you are not feeling good, where you are not feeling comfortable, happy for whatever reason. It may be personal, professional issues, but if you spend time on your health, especially if you go out for walk and if you do yoga, walk I believe is the best exercise in the world. So anytime if you are stressed, it is not only good for your mind, it is obviously good for your body as well, because these two are connected. So at least add this to your life, whatever time you study, even if you have to cut little bit from there, it's okay, because mind, your brain will work better if your health is in your control, and if you are having peace in your mind, or if you are feeling happy. And I can tell you, if you do add exercise, or you just eat healthy food, overall you will feel good, better, and your performance, even if you end up spending an hour less on your studies or on other things, I'm sure you can cut from one or another sources, even OTT or TV news. I tell people to at least reduce time there and spend it on your health, and also communicate with people, people around you. And at least pandemic for now seems over behind us. So please meet people, communicate with people at least once in a week, and wherever possible, do it in physical form, because when you meet, you learn much more when you physically meet, and your emotions, your body is right there. And that is the need of human beings. We cannot live online. I mean, this session is online, that is fine, because everyone is from different location. But please try to make it physical, at least wherever you do, even if yoga or you meet people, please do it offline now as much as possible. So I'll jump into this communication. Communication, my thought would be here would be to give you some tips, where you can. I would not try to touch much on theoretical things. I would like to simply give you, some tips where you can improve on communication. And when I talk about communication, it is not just public speaking, where you can write, you write emails, you write letters, you write memos, or in the office you communicate. Even when you write your exam, actually you are communicating with your teacher. You are telling them, how much you know. So also visuals you see, and signs also, all these things are part of communication. So I'm not just focusing on how you speak or public speaking. And I can assure you that if you want to become a leader, one thing common every leader has is that they are good communicators. They speak well, they write well, and their body language is also very good. So please make sure that you improve on that, because that is which will make you more marketable. People will know more about you only if you communicate well. If I have a lot of knowledge, but if I don't communicate well, obviously people are not going to recognize me. And I promise you, you will end up making at least 50% more with your as compared to your contemporaries with the same skill sets if you communicate well. And if you see around you, whatever leader, you love them, you hate them, but all of them are good public speakers. Be it Lalu Prasad Yadav, I know many people don't like him, but he was a good communicator. Our Prime Minister, respected Prime Minister PM Modi or Obama, they all have been, they won the heart of people because they could communicate, they could talk to people. So please make sure that you work on it, and nothing can be done without actually making efforts. So, and also I would request everyone, please, if you have some notebook or pen, please make some notes. Maybe few things you will find interesting. At least try to implement it. Just read it again. Just write some key points which you feel that can help you. And I start with, there was a Stoic philosopher, Marcus Aurelius. I don't know how many of you have heard about it. I think he was emperor of Greece about 2,300 years back, and he used to write many good things. One thing he wrote was, few things he wrote, I would like to mention it here, that in your actions, don't procrastinate. Procrastination everywhere. Obviously, today is communication topic, but if you have to talk to someone, if you have to communicate someone, don't delay it beyond a particular point, because sometimes it becomes useless. So, for example, I have, shown my, let us say I'm a salesman and I have shown a property to a prospective customer, and let us say I'm a real estate agent, or let us say I'm selling, a product for a telecom infrastructure company. Make sure that you talk to people on time, on relevant time. Don't delay it beyond, but because sometimes you delay it so much that it becomes irrelevant. Even if today it is right, but it becomes irrelevant in future, it may be outdated, or maybe you lose the customer because you did not talk to them or communicate with them, follow up, you did not follow up with them. So I'm talking from someone who spoke about all these things 2,300 years back, but are still applicable, relevant for today's world. And another, he said, in your conversation, don't confuse. So when you are talking to someone, don't talk about the second or third topic in between before the first comes to a logical end. I hope it makes sense, but I mean, don't mix two topics when you're talking to someone. If I am talking to someone about one problem, I don't get into the second problem at the same time. That second problem can wait. Whatever, topic I have, just take it easy. Another thing he said was, in your thoughts, don't wander. Wander, I mean, I keep on thinking about, and, focus has become a big challenge. And for example, I'm reading, I should keep my phone away. Or if I'm talking to you, I should keep other things, silent as much as possible. Not that I have two people talking to me, or I'm scrolling on Facebook, or let us say social media, or any news channel. And this is, like when I'm thinking, when I'm focusing, I need to make sure that I am not wandering in two, three things, trying to be at one. Another thing which he said, not related to communication, but I always like it and try to quote it: in your life and discussion, don't be all about business. So don't be money minded all the time. Few things you do just because you believe you do it, you enjoy it, and you give something to the society, and you believe, it can add value to you or your people around you, or it can give you happiness. So don't measure everything with money, that what you got from money, money back from that. So these are the few things, I mentioned, from Marcus Aurelius. These things do have, relevance as far as possible with communication. And in today's world, these are some of the basic principles. These don't change. It's not like technology, 4G, 5G, or some new technology, which will change with time. And also there is another author whose name is Whedon. Rory Whedon is a author and public speaker. He wrote a book, Take the Stairs. And when he talked about the stairs, is that he said that there is no shortcut. Like we'd like to take elevator. When we take elevators, actually it shows our attitude that we try to. I'm not talking if you have to go to 10th floor or 12th floor, but let us say for 2-3 floors we can all walk. What he's trying to say is that it is an attitude. Don't take shortcut. It shows the attitude of a person. Similarly, whatever you do, there is no shortcut. Few things you have to do it in the longer way. You have to spend time or invest. For example, I struggled with communication skills, be it English or be it public speaking, but I invested time on it. And without investment of time, nothing can happen. So there is no shortcut. And again, if you really want to improve on communication skills, you have to not only commit time around it. So if you think that in 30 days your communication skills will improve, I would humbly say it is actually not possible. And at the end of this workshop, I would not say that your communication skills will improve. Only thing is that you have to focus. I will just give you some key points which you have to focus. That is why I tell everyone, please write. If you don't write, some key points, key notes, most likely within 2 days you will forget about 80% of the things, and possibly after 2 weeks you would hardly remember anything, or at least 90% of things you would forget. So please focus on it. And I still believe that most of us Indians, especially our business language is English, and or business or official language is English, and none of us actually speak at home, or hardly, I would say none of us. Maybe 1 or 2% people may be speaking at home in English, but I doubt many people. So we have to focus on it. We have to spend time around it. So self-discipline, sacrifice, commitment, focus, integrity, and action. Action is very, very important. You may know 100 things, but unless you take action around it, nothing is going to happen. You have to make sure that you spend time. Whatever knowledge you have, unless you actually work on it, nothing is going to happen. So to start with, if you really want to improve communication skills, I would say start reading more and more. And when I talk about reading, it could be, I would say, something which interests you, obviously makes more sense. And it could be fictional also. It could be science, medicine. It could be even your finance book. If you read it more carefully, obviously you can improve your communication skills, or your sales, whatever, marketing books, whatever books you have. If you read it more carefully, I'm sure you are going to learn better and your skills are going to improve. And I tell everyone who struggle with English to Hindi that if you see anything in your textbook, the word which you don't understand, please mark it with pencil, Hindi to English, whatever, or English to English, please write it there. Because sometimes if you don't understand the word, it may basically lead to, misunderstanding or completely different kind of meaning of something, and you may not actually be able to grasp it. So please have your dictionary. Google, we can do it also. Listening is another important thing, very important skills. I tell everyone, if you don't listen properly, if you don't pay attention to listening, you are not going to learn. Or if you already have made your mind that you are not going to listen to that person, or you already have made some preconceived notion about what he's going to say and what you are going to reply back, believe me, that is not going to complete the communication. So listening carefully is very, very important. If you see, God has given us 2 years, there must be some reason. One mouth, 2 years, because listening is more difficult, harder, especially in this world. And distraction is also there. So please make sure that you play. Again, everything is like focus. You have to focus. You have to think that I have to listen carefully. The most important thing is that you have to remember it. And again, when you remember it, when you do it on and on, it becomes part of your subconscious mind. So consciously, if you make some effort, it becomes part of subconscious mind. And talking, again, you please find your buddy, friends with whom you can communicate. And again, if English, you believe this is where you need to improve, find somebody or person who can talk to you in English. Or if you still don't find anybody, you may try just recording yourself on the videos. So all these things you can try on regular basis to improve. Again, there are a lot of YouTube channels as well which can help you with everything, anything, not only communication skills, whatever topic you are studying. And another important thing I tell everyone, that please have a silence of 15-20 minutes in the night for yourself. Also, you talk to yourself, you communicate with yourself. Not that you need to speak, but you think about it, how your day went, what all things you wanted to accomplish, what all you missed, what you did wrong, where you can improve. Similarly, weekly, monthly, all these things you keep on doing. Spend yourself time on yourself about thinking, because if you don't communicate with yourself, somewhere I believe that you cannot improve that much. You have to focus on yourself also. Another part is that pay attention on words. I mean, if your vocabulary, you for obviously you have to improve your vocabulary. Vocabulary can help you become a better person. Now, many people tell me, how can vocabulary help me make a better person? I tell everyone that, I can have right choice of words. For example, I have a phone which is maybe not very expensive, but it works for me. And you see it and you say that, okay, what kind of phone you have? Oh, this is a cheap phone. I may mind it because you did not use the right word. Maybe if you say it this way that, your phone is good, maybe you can have a better version of it. There are better phones available. Or if you can, say that it's value for money for you, but new things are new technologies are coming. So how you express yourself, actually makes big difference. So don't use words, which can hurt people quite easily. Be little bit, I would say that be little bit more, couch those words, but some decent words, nice words you basically try to have. So even if I have to give you some feedback, let us say if you come late to the office on regular basis, I can start with a positive conversation that you do your job very well, and in the past you have been you're very punctual, but recently I have seen that you regularly come late, and it does put bad impression. Or similarly, other people also see it, and they also want to follow this kind of behavior, which is not good for the organization. So, you start with positive things, say some good words. That way, a person becomes more receptive. He can take, the feedback, even if the feedback is not so pleasant, not so nice. But start with saying some nice words. It will definitely help you in your communication. Then you come to the point, that this is where you see you want that person to improve. And maybe in the end, you can again use some positive words that, yes, I do hope you are a very positive person, you are very receptive, and I believe that you will pay attention to what I have said, and it will be great for the organization, and it will be great for you as well in the organization to grow, to become a good leader or become a role model, where people follow you. So such kind of words if you use, even if you are giving some feedback which is not nice, not pleasant, it will help that person improve on his performance or whatever shortcomings he has. So in general, now little bit on theoretical side, we all know that in communication there is one is sender. Obviously, like today I am the sender of the message is obviously communication skills. The channel is actually Zoom online method we are using, and I have audience receiver feedback. We already have feedback form, but please feel free if you feel that feedback is there, because without feedback things don't complete. If I keep on speaking, if I don't understand what people need, sometimes it breaks the channel and it distorts the communication as well. So I would say that feedback is very important. Even when you have customers around you or when you have employees around you, please keep the channel of feedback open. If you don't keep the feedback, because they are the one, believe me, your customers are the one who can give you the best feedback about your product. Similarly, employees who are on the ground, trust me, CEO cannot improve the company, the product. It has to come from employees who are going, who are on the ground, who are in touch with the customers, or the customer or the users are the one who. So please don't be thin skinned. I hope you understand, thin skin is someone who gets irritated, agitated very fast. अरे यार ये क्या हो गया, अरे यार ये बड़ा बकवास करता है यार, all these kind of things. Yeah, he's always negative. Again, obviously I would not expect people to be always negative, always be critical, because then it becomes part of personality and people don't want to listen to you. But as a person, you have to be ready when you communicate, and only with the help of feedback you can improve and you can survive. And again, good communication, as I mentioned, improves business productivity, because again, the you get feedback from everyone, and then only you can improve the product or whatever services you are providing. And also make sure that you communicate with people. It's again very important. Same thing For example, I am a real estate dealer or broker, and I am selling, let us say, apartment of DLF, and you are my customer. One option is very simple. I am in my office. I can say that, okay, the key is with the chokidar, or the keeper. You take the key, you see, go inside, see. We all know that there you can easily identify master bedroom, attached bathroom, or kitchen, or if there is a modular kitchen there, or if there is chimney, bathroom, everything, the living area, dining area. This is balcony. But trust me, people who actually are physically present and communicate with people and tell exactly the same thing what a customer can see, they sell their product much more than people who are not available to talk. So if you go and meet your customer and talk the same thing, maybe possibly he knows, but yes, you make sure you ask them, like, if they need more information, if they need more help, do they have any questions, please make sure that you ask such things. And also, when the customer goes, or when the meeting ends, you make sure that you communicate with, thank you for your time. You can say it there also, but there's no harm, in WhatsApp world, we can easily just write, one or two lines on WhatsApp. Thank you for your time, thank you for coming to see my product, or see, let us say, my property, or for your time and whatever, to be interested in our products and services. Please make sure. And again, follow up is very, very important. Make sure that you follow up after at least a day or two with the customer, to talk about what is their feeling, what do they feel, do they need more information. I mean, this can be on email. And also, again, like, you have to choose the method. No one method fits everyone. I would say just write email, just WhatsApp. It could be phone call as well. Whatever you feel is the best way there, please do it. If you do it after 15 days, believe me, then you have already lost the opportunity, because you never know. Sometimes the customer or the client is in a fix, he's not sure, he's between yes and no. And people who take the phone calls, who make the most phone calls to their customers, win the most clients or customers, believe. So don't be lazy around it, don't be shy around it, कि यार मैं कॉल करूंगा वो गुस्सा आ जाएगा, वो कॉल उठाएगा नहीं, all those things. Please just throw your ego out when you are communicating, especially people who are on the front doing sales. So please make sure that you don't hesitate, even if it is 10 o'clock in the morning or 12 in the afternoon, whatever time. Obviously it has to be a reasonable time, but please make sure. There is possibility that 9 of your customers don't pick your phone call or don't reply, but maybe the 10th one, who was not sure about your product, or maybe yes, he had some questions, because just he or she hesitated, or they hesitated, basically. They may communicate back to you, and you may win the deal. Again, this is the only mantra. How actually, obviously, product has to be good, but I'm talking about everything being equal. If you communicate more, if you communicate nicely, again, saying same thing, that this is what it is, you will still enjoy. Okay, so this is one thing. Another is that smile. Smile, I tell everyone, is very important thing. Many people think that, I don't know why. I mean, I have lived abroad also. I think you can disagree with me. Indians don't smile that much. I don't know why. And smile is a big icebreaker. I have seen many times I smile. I mean, I have my own projects going on, and I go and smile and talk to every person who is working on the project, even if sometimes, like labor, for example, I have some construction project going on. I'm telling you from my life experience, every labor knows me, because I go, I smile, I ask them how they are doing. Believe me, I don't hesitate. I don't think that I have this much money, this project cost, and I like the owner of the project, or the founder of the project, or it's all my money. I know that they are paid for what they are doing, which is already less, much meager, much small amount. At least I can respect them. At least I can give them smile. At least I can say hello to them. Believe me, the productivity of the people on the floor increases. What are the ethics in the business communication? I don't know exactly what do you mean by ethics, but from my experience, what I understand is, see, you have to be honest. You don't have to oversell. You have to say less, and delivery should be always be more. I believe that, for example, if I say that my product can do something, it should be able to do at least that much or more than that. Because, for example, if I'm saying that there is a let us say machinery with 1 horsepower, which can lift this much of amount of kilograms. At least it should be able to lift that much kilogram. It should be at least more than that, and that is how you gain the trust of your customers. And obviously, that is very, very important. If you don't deliver to what you say, it is not going to take you in the long run, or you're not going to actually do things in the long run, do well in the long run. Obviously your product is the one which sells, but again, if you talk well, nicely, obviously, it helps. Another question is transparency essential in the business communication? uh, Obviously transparency is very well, but you have to see, for example, if I'm selling my product, I don't need to always be transparent about how much is my cost. And transparency about the quality of the product, what product can do, is very, very important. But few things, obviously trade secrecy, from where I get the product, what all technologies, maybe few things, what all goes into to make the product, maybe unless there are legal requirements, or how much cost. Sometimes, actually you have 50% margin, 40% margin. If you tell your customer you have 40% margin, obviously he's not going to be happy. He would want you to have only 5% margin, 2% margin. So it all depends. You know, it's like trade secrets. Obviously, you don't need to disclose them. Okay, I don't see any other question. Let me get back to the topic. So smile, as I was saying, please make sure you smile, because if you smile, trust me, you can break ice. Some people actually don't talk, communicate much, but if you smile and maybe you approach them, they can do wonder. It can help you, gain the business also. Another important aspect is know your audience. I mean, to whom you are communicating. Be very sensitive to ethnicity, people's caste, religion, also your product, like your political views, your religious views. I believe that when you are in business, please keep it on side. You don't need to show it to everyone that your religion is better than others one, or you are victim, or you are from this caste or that caste. Obviously some people, obviously from your name, your caste, all can judge. Let them judge it, but don't show it that you are better than them. Nobody wants to hear that. Everyone wants to hear that they are good. I want to hear about myself. If someone is talking to me, I want to hear some nice things about me. If I am a customer, same goes with everyone. No, I mean, if you are selling something, if you are in business, you definitely, you have your religion, it's close to your heart, you respect it, whatever you do. But please don't push your thoughts about politics. Nothing is going to pay you on this front. It can only hurt, damage, and some people actually don't would get turned off as well. And again, when you write, again, you make sure that your audience understands. For example, before joining this, I wanted to know who the audience. I learned that most of them are MBA students, so I thought maybe I could talk around, which helps students around it. So another is a negative reaction is also very, very important. Whenever you talk, be prepared for some negative reactions or different side of the story. It is not necessary that whatever you say will be completely accepted. Even if you do your best, you are politically correct, you are everywhere, everything touch. But believe me, when you go and talk to audience or customer, be ready that there would be people who would find faults, who would have some negative reaction. Don't overreact on those things. Try to accept it, be positive around that, try to understand that, and as much as possible, understand their point of view. जरूरी नहीं है कि जो मेरा point of view है, whatever point of view I have for years and ages, that is right. Because again, that is why I tell them, go and meet people outside, because when you meet people, you know about people's different views, aspect, how people think. People may be from different background. People from Bihar may think differently than people who think, people from Punjab or Haryana. So they may react. And again, I tell everyone, it's not what you say to people, but how you say. Again, like if you say with smile, happiness, sometimes even negative feedback works easily if you say it in a nice fashion. You couch it, you politely. No one cares, how much money you have, which car you drive, or how big, is your house. All matters to the other person is that they want to hear some nice things from you about him. He's more interested about himself. So it doesn't matter how many cars I have, how many bungalows I have, how many crores I have bank balance. I have to come to the level of that person and talk to him in that fashion. So please keep this thing in mind. Again, my request is that you please, keep on making some notes as well. Coming back to listening, as I mentioned, listening is very, very important thing when you are communicating with someone. And if you are a listener, please make sure that you little bit, give your reaction, you agree, you can say, you can nod like this, you can smile. Or if you don't agree, just shake your hand, like this, like I am doing it. Or if you agree, disagree, or if you are interested, or to make it more interesting, wow, if you like something new idea, wow, really, is it this how things, is it how things go? Or you can also do paraphrasing in your own words. That really makes very interesting. So same thing what the speaker is saying, you paraphrase that in your own words, that can also make it interesting. These are the few things, I believe one can definitely improve their listening. And now I come around some tips in improving, business. In business, when you are running business, what things you must pay attention, especially if you are working or if you have your own small or medium sized enterprises. Please make sure that you have terms and conditions signed. That's part of communication, because people forget, people have their own interpretation and judgments about the things, so please have agreements on any. I'm not talking about if you are just selling, let us say, bag of cement. Obviously you don't need to have agreement around it, but if anything, where person can have judgment, discretion, please have an agreement. If product is made of two three things, there are deliverables, there are time, when the payment would be made, all these things you have it in writing, so that that discretion is less, and the ambiguity or the chances of dispute become less. I'm not saying that agreement will make everything perfect, but at least it will iron out many of the issues, which can go around with your product, or when you sell actually, or it may be the services or return policy or collection or warranty, whatever, like please have things in writing. Especially this is missing in the small and medium size organizations. Similarly, policies and procedures are also missing. I know small organizations don't work much on policies, but again, as much as possible, please have some basic policies and SOPs for the business, because it makes it more standardized. And again, I'm not saying that you make no room for innovation or new things, but at least on the same mundane, day-to-day task, people don't use a lot of discretion, and maybe then people don't do things wrong. And again, as I mentioned, feedback you need to have, because if there are things not very well done, there should be feedback as well. Another is, when you end communication, you please make sure that you write people that please feel free to call me, please feel to communicate, please feel free to for clarification. And I have seen many times in emails, you write something email, there is saying in, email pe email chali ja rahi hai, or meeting after meeting is going on, but conclusion is the hard to actually find. You please take a phone call, or at least write to the person, and just, or if you think that some, maybe sitting next to each other in a meeting room can resolve the issue, please do that. Don't be rigid about the communication method you have taken. It may be phone call, it may be messaging, email, face to face meeting. The purpose of any communication is actually that the other person understand and action is taken. Communication actually means, it has come from Latin word commune is basically sharing. And communication is sharing of words, thoughts, or whatever. And again, at the end of the conclusion, that some action is taken, something what you believe should be done on it. So if action is not taken, if I write email with the purpose that कि मेरा काम हो गया, मैंने तो अपना पर्पस सर्व कर दिया, देखो जी मैंने तो उसको लिख दिया था, उसने एक्शन लिया, that's not right way. The purpose should be that someone should take action on it, and whatever is expected, the outcome should be there. At the end of the day, there should be some outcome. Even this face to face meeting, there is a saying, a meeting, many people actually do meetings for time pass. Please don't do it. Many people get agitated, irritated as well. You make sure you have agenda. If you are driving the meeting, you have agenda, you have notes or minutes of the meeting made, you have people who will take action, what date the work is expected to be completed, who all will take the action, next follow up or next meeting, all those things. As much as possible, you have things in writing. Another important thing I tell everyone is that appreciate people in public. Many times, many people get angry very quickly, and they snub people on the floor in front of people. That's not right. I tell everyone that if you have to give feedback, as obviously as I mentioned, how to give feedback, you make sure that snubbing is not in the public, because that doesn't go well nicely. Many people leave their jobs, or actually many relationships end on the ground that you snub someone in public. people feel humiliated in front of public. Maybe you can talk nicely, politely in public. Sometimes situation is like that. You cannot call someone in your room or in your office or in a separate corner. But please make sure, again, appreciation, you do it in public because people like to hear. Like we post on Facebook, Instagram, we all like likes and everyone can see it. So that's fine. But negative feedbacks, if you see, that's why Facebook does not have any negative, that because they know that people will run away. People will leave actually Facebook. They want you to be there. So they have kept it to appreciate. And then there is message box if you really feel that you need to give some feedback or if you have to say something. So again, this is one foul language. I tell everyone that, please don't use foul language. If you are used to, I mean, I grew up in a community, where foul language or bad languages words were very frequently used. But slowly I realized that it doesn't really help. Bad words, I mean, we have all in our local languages. Please avoid it. Many people don't appreciate, many people get offended. So try to avoid it. No one would say that he's not a great person because he doesn't use abusive language. And many of us, I mean, I have done it. Not that I have not done it, but over a period of time, I have realized, especially in writing, it is even more important because it goes against you. Sometimes people write filthy language, bad language, you copy all on email and then you write a language which is inappropriate or you snub on someone or you start playing blame game. Please don't do it. That doesn't go well anywhere. Similarly, I said, angry, when you are angry, upset, take a pause and maybe after some time you write. Don't write immediately if you are not happy. Just wait for some time. And also, there are sometimes that you have to communicate with people more than once. Don't mind. So for example, government also sends you have to pay your advance tax, you have to file your tax return. You must have seen messages. Don't expect your customers or your employees that they are perfect. You will send one message and they will take action on it and it will work perfectly well. कि यार सुनते नहीं है, बार बार मैसेज भेजना पड़ता है. Just be patient. This is how things work in real world. So if you have to give message twice, thrice, and especially if it is important or significance, then do it more than once. Believe me. Not that on the last day or let us say 2 months before you do. Keep on doing follow up. Also try to send some summary chart. How many people have done? How many people have not done? You are still waiting for more people. All these things, Jesus, just be a little bit patient around it. Proofread. I tell everyone, if you are writing email, please make sure before you send anything, proofread. Just proofread means, I mean, just read your own stuff or whatever articles you are writing. Please make sure that you read it again. If it is really very important, it can impact many people. Have your some colleague, your friend, your senior confidant, read it so that they also give their feedback. There's nothing wrong in it. Vocabulary, grammar, we all know is very important for communication. And we have many tools. I know that there are many free tools like Grammarly, obviously Microsoft Word, and also they also help. And if you know some other better software, again, I'm not saying you buy any paid one, but please. And again, you learn when you keep on reading it, you keep on speaking, you keep on communicating with people. So this is also a very important thing. And again, one thing I'm repeating again is that, feedback is very, very important. Please make sure that you keep that channel, open. And also, if you leadership position, you are a leader, make sure that in a meeting, you give your subordinates opportunity to speak first. So let us say if you call every Monday or every weekly, you have a meeting with your subordinates to know the progress, to get the feedback or to do improvements or whatever, meeting you have. As a leader, you make sure that you speak in the end. Because if you speak to start with, you basically stop your subordinates or your employees to give their feedback. Sometimes they just agree with you. I hope I'm making sense here. You start with each and every employee. Let us say if there is a round table conference, your turn should be in the end to speak. Quite possibility is there that many new things, new feedback or improvement things, employee talk about it, what is going on, where they need your help. And then you talk about, what you feel about everything or you have new things. So that is, again, I tell everyone that as a leader in a meeting, please speak in the end. If it is obviously a town hall and you have to say, speak or give the message, obviously you would not have 500 people speak before you do. But in normal management meeting or update meeting or monthly meeting, weekly meeting, please have others speak. So I will, quickly, just summarize few things which I have discussed or few other things also. One is that use simple language. Make sure that the language you are speaking, obviously people understand. I tell everyone, you don't need to be Shakespeare, to be a good communicator, because most of people would not understand. Or you don't need to be Sashi Tharoor. Also, Sashi Tharoor, I know, speaks very good English, but it may be too difficult for some people to understand. So use the language which other people understand. If it is English, English. If it is Hindi, Hindi. Punjabi, whatever language, people who actually can connect with you. You prepare well for the topic. If you are going to speak in public, or you are going to lead a meeting, you make sure, or you are joining a meeting, please make sure that you prepare around it. Don't go empty mind, and don't go without a notebook and pen in your hand, because without that, quite chances are quite high, that you will forget. Another is that you please add stories or example. People understand with example, stories, graphics also, people understand very well. And again, that's a good way to communicate. And also, like as a listener, you need to make sure that you pay attention. It's not like you're wondering, as I mentioned, Marcus or Elias, you're not wondering, or maybe you are talking about two topics at the same time. Both may be very, very relevant, but you have one, then have a logical conclusion of it, and then you talk about the other topic if obviously the time permits. Again, as I mentioned, please make notes or minutes if you are going in a meeting. Feedback is also very, very important, as I mentioned. And as the last thing I would say is, good listening is a hidden superpower of learning and understanding. If you are not a good listener, believe me, you are not going to be a good communicator, because this is how you actually learn, and this is how you grow. You also need to have that much very important thing in your mind. So this is all from my side. I will keep it open for discussion and also any feedback around it. Thank you. And thank you, audience, for being patient for so long.
Thank you, sir. That was a very wonderful session. And since I am also an MBA student, I really think that I've learned a lot from this session, and it was very informative. Once again, I would like to thank you for joining us and sharing your experience, your precious time and knowledge with us. There were some questions which were in the chat box before, so I would like to recite it out to you. Um, do emotional disconnect lead to lack in business communication?
So, see, emotions are very important. We humans are emotional, and most of the decisions are actually made around emotions, not around logic. So please remember it. For example, if I buy an expensive car, it may not be a logical decision. Or if I buy, for example, I have 10 office suits to wear for my office. Actually, I may be using only two of those. So emotions are also very, very important, and most of the decisions are taken because of emotions, not because of logic. But at the same time, very high, when we are very high on emotions, sometimes it is detrimental in building relationship. For example, if I get agitated very fast, I get irritated very fast, or always, I cannot take logical decisions. Obviously, these things can hamper my personal life and professional life, and obviously in the business also, it is not good. So I would say try to make it balance. I believe that it is always good to be more practical than being emotional, but you also need to understand that this is what drives the world. I hope I'm able
So,
to answer.
as you gave one example of the elevator in the starting, that can take the stairs, you should work for what you are going to achieve. So, along with that, there are people who say that smart work is what is needed in today's world. So, what do you suggest, smart work or hard work?
See, there is no doubt that smart work is needed everywhere. But I believe an elevator was just an example and just showing the attitude of the people, not to prove that people who always take elevator and who cannot even actually have that courage to go take the stairs are actually always wrong. But it was just showing the attitude. See, not taking I tell you why I take the stairs, and what the author, that Rory Vaden, says, that it is an attitude. You don't save time. Believe me, I teach at Institute of Chartered Accountant, and it is on second floor. The level of each floor is a little bit high. I always try to see that the students who are taking lift, and the time when I reach that same floor, I am at the same time or always at a better time. So for me, it is smart work because I am doing my physical activity in the same time. Just imagine, just standing in the lift. Sometimes it can be boring waiting. And I'm telling you, when people are entering, I'm not talking about they are waiting. I've seen many, many times, People are just entering and I am just going on the stairs and 2 3 floors, whatever, floor I have to teach. I always reach the same time. So waiting time you're wasting. I am saying that I am smart because I'm doing physical activity at the same time. And believe me, when you do physical activity, it reduces your stress. Please don't think that every shortcut, for example, in US, they have even ATMs, drive through, even the food, for example, McDonald's, everything drive through. What you are actually doing is it is impacting your health. When you walk, when you be patient, you do even small things at home, believe me, it relaxes you. So that is also, as I mentioned, it's not like always you have to study. If, for example, I quote for CA students, or I'm sure MBA students also sometimes study 10 hours in a day, especially on weekends. You can still study 8 hours and do better because your mind is in your control. You are relaxed. Your physical body, for example, I say that, your back is not hurting. You don't have cervical. You're not stressed. Your stress hormones actually go down when you all do these physical things. So again, smart work in few things may be better, but at least not on stairs.
Sir, as you said that the feedback is important, obviously, it tells us more about ourselves. So, but the feedback can always be critical also, negative also. So, how to deal with the negative feedbacks?
See, there are few people who are hell-bent negative. They will always find something negative. Then you have to be a little bit practical also, if they make sense or not. But you cannot expect that feedback is always positive and then you improve. At least you have to be receptive. Don't get agitated. I know few people are actually hell-bent negative. They will find bad in everything, the best thing you do. But if you don't take feedback, at least out of 10, two things I am sure would be practically possible and would help you improve on whatever you are doing. Believe me, out of 10, two would definitely be there. You would have not even imagined. And some of them actually would make your work easier, or it will save your cost, or out of the box idea, which may be for the next generation of the product, it may be important. So at least I would say read all those feedbacks carefully. And again, who do it after a while, कौन सा बच्चा है जो ज्यादा शोर मचाता है, ज्यादा तंग करता है. Be a little bit practical, but yes, please keep it open.
So, this last question, it is asked by Mohammed. Can these points be influence in business communication? Cultural diversity, misunderstanding of message, emotional difference, past experiences, education and intellectual difference. Can they influence in business communication?
Yes, obviously, again, people who are less emotional, more pragmatic, more practical, they don't get tensed, quite fast. They understand, they respect people, religious background. I always tell everyone, please start, you don't need to follow each and every religion, but at least start acknowledging presence of people from different religion, different backgrounds. ये बिहार से है, ये हिंदू है, ये मुस्लिम है, ये सिख है. At least start acknowledging, accepting them, and be open minded. So diversified culture, I always tell everyone that please try to work in diversified culture. Try to stay outside your home if possible. मैं नहीं कह रहा आप घर छोड़ के निकल जाओ without any objective, but if possible, stay alone. Try to stay with people who are different from you, from all these things. Again, when you go in business, you find such people from different background, different faith, different caste, different regions. And when you talk to them nicely, sometimes when you talk about, see, as I mentioned, everyone is interested in themselves. कोई interested नहीं है मैं कौन सी language, मैं आपकी language, if I can speak in your language, if I can say some good words about, for example, you are Rajput, just say few good things about Rajput if I know, or few good things about any religion, if I can say, if I can acknowledge. For example, I go to construction site, and I have my own construction site going on, and at least 15-20 laborers, or some of the skilled, some of not unskilled. I know 3-4 are Muslims. I always ask them, how are rosas going. Many of them are not able to keep because it's now summers have started, and it's a manual hard work. And I just kindly appreciate it. I said, yes, it's not that easy. Just some, you use nice words, kaise chal raha hai, kya ho raha hai. Ask people about it, know little bit about others also. And believe me, you will see their positive attitude towards you. I'm not giving them money. Believe me, more than money, my attitude can help people do better. Yes, sometimes you had money also, but believe me, your attitude is more important. Again, you smile, acknowledge people, their presence, whatever level, trust me, when I go somewhere, the guards, the lowest level, just who are supporting, who feeds me food there, I acknowledge him. I say, if I know him, if I go there frequently, I say hello to him. I don't wait कि वो मुझे hello करेगा, वो मुझे नमस्ते करेगा, वो मुझे smile देगा. And all these things help.
Thank you, sir. That was a very good piece of advice.
And thank you, everyone. Audience, it is very important that participants are patient, they listen, because nothing is more important than participants. You give your time to me, and I really acknowledge and appreciate it. Thank you.
Again, thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. And if you have any additional question, you can contact us by email or telephone. We are happy to provide additional support to you. Thank you so much for cooperating. So stay connected to us for new learning. I, Shanshi, your host of the day, signing off. Have a wonderful day.